Hey guys, Tough Thumbs here. So real quick, I wanted to make a video just talking about friction folders, just because I've gotten a lot of questions about them. You know, it's kind of like an ongoing thing. People are, like, why don't you just make a frame lock? Why don't you just make a liner lock? I don't know if I trust a friction folder. Blah blah blah. It goes on and on and on and on. And basically, my viewpoint on friction folders is well, you have fixed blades, which are the easiest thing to make. I mean, fixed blades basically, if you even if you have shitty tools, as long as you got some steel and a drill press, it's pretty easy to do. And fixed blades are one thing, but there's kind of a level of boredom that comes with fixed blades, and the level of you're kind of limited with fixed blades. There's not a whole much that hasn't been done already when it comes to fixed blades, and there's not a lot of variety you can do. And plus, they're not very EDC-able, except for small neck knives and stuff. So I kind of was like, okay, I really want to make a frame lock, and I really want to make a liner lock, but in the meantime, until I get the skills to do it, because I'm not just going to come out with a frame lock until it's perfect, and I'm not going to come out with a liner lock until it's perfect. And one thing I've been doing is basically every friction folder I have here is basically going to be a frame lock or liner lock at some point. And this is a way for me to prototype them at the same time have a useful knife. And but that's one thing. So this is basically going to be my liner lock folder. As you can see, there's liners on both sides. So when I make the blade for this, I'll basically take this guy out, unless I sell it. Then otherwise I'm just going to make a template for it. Or this guy is set up for a frame lock, a thinner frame lock, and then you got the big dog over here, for a frame lock, which is just straight up doing. But that's why I do them. But other than that, the other reason I do them is because there's a lot more creativity that comes with something like this, and it's more EDC-able and something you're going to use more on a daily basis, and it's kind of like your companion. Now, for one, the Toads are more of a backup blade than anything else. I mean, it's more of a take it to work. People won't be so freaked out by them. They're kind of cute, but they're still badass looking. I mean, so it's kind of like for those guys, with the legal issues with like the limit for the blade length and two-handed openers only and all that shit. You know what I mean? Like all that bullshit that's going on. So guys in the UK, they appreciate these. They understand them. And they can carry them, and then like New York, you can carry them. Well, I don't know. You can't. I don't know what you can do in New York. It seems like it's just based on like cop by cop decision. But you whip one of these out, as opposed to say like this guy here. You got a locking, whips open real fast type of knife. I mean, that's just, to some cops and to some people, this is scary, whereas these friction folders, not so much. Now, another pleasure in carrying one of these things, I mean, I try to angle the Toad tang so when it goes in your pocket, whether it's the tang is going towards the center, so you basically get, from here, the pocket clip will be right here at a slight angle, so it pushes this tang more towards the center. So you have, like a knife this size, basically a little bit under a paramilitary in your pocket, and you can still slide it in there, and then there's no, nothing to catch your pocket, nothing to do anything, you're doing tip down, or you just chuck it in your pocket and not have a problem. And I try to make the friction, like this one's a little bit loose right now because I've been fondling with these things. Basically, friction is, friction. You have friction here holding the blade. I mean, I can smack that a little bit. Nothing. A little bit harder, it goes down. But the thing is, I mean, I've said it a million times, when you have it open, I'm getting eaten by bugs here. You have it open, the idea behind the choil there, like the low hung blade there, and the longer tang is basically you got a lot of purchase there to keep that blade from closing, and it's not going to close. I guarantee you guys, unless you're stupid, unless you do something stupid, what you can do with any knife, as you can see from many people's videos, including my own, where they cut themselves on camera, off camera. It just happens. But with these, you know, you don't have to mess around with any locks at all, anything like that. It's just all just your own pressure on it. And with any knife, you know, like, you know, a lot of people, you know, get heat for spine whacking a knife. It's basically, you don't ever use a knife in this direction, like, ever. I mean, unless you're, I don't know what the point would be for that. I mean, the only thing I think is if you stab into something, you could possibly slip and, you know, I don't know. But with this, you know, it stays open like this with a good amount of pressure, friction there. And, you know, it's not going to go any farther than that, which also kind of adds a little bit of extra something to it. Basically, when you're holding it, like the tangs on these are longer because there's not something holding your finger back there. So basically, you can, you know, have this thing open and cut it down like this to have certain angles, better angles that you want for fine cutting. I mean, but basically, you know, it's not going to close on it. It's just not going to happen. Like, I'm holding this towards the end of the tang, and it's just not gonna close. I mean, this, if you just let go completely, but you'd have to move your hand out of the way of this giant tang here to have it do that. I mean, just not gonna happen. Like, something's gonna be near it. You know, you're gonna feel that. You're definitely gonna feel that. You know what I mean? So there's no disadvantage here except for, I mean, just really odd situations. Like, now, say you were going overseas, you know, and you had a knife to use. I would say there's pluses and minuses to having a friction folder on you. For one, you're never gonna have a lock problem situation. No blade play. Like, there is no blade play in these at all, besides, you know, the obvious. But left side to side, there's nothing. I mean, there's just nothing. And as far as this goes, when you have your hand over it, it's just as much as your strength is. But it feels rock solid. And you don't need a pin here to keep it as a fixed blade because there's really no point to it. This is like your best friend, you know, just like a companion knife, like just for everything. I mean, you could do bushcraft with it, like all sorts of stuff. I mean, anything you do with a knife, you could do with this thing. It's for me, it's a built-in sheath on a fixed blade. Just a lot more fun and a lot more going on there. Now, as far as opening the knife, people like, you know, there is a little bit of a learning curve, I guess, to getting used to it. But what I basically come down to is just basically, that's it. I mean, and then to, you know, disengage it, you know, just kind of, well, that's not how I usually do it, but, you know, just press it down, move your fingers, as long as you don't chop your fingers off. But it can be a one-handed opener or closer, especially the toes. They're very, you know, because your fingers are right there. I mean, if you need to deploy your knife faster than that, I mean, I think you got bigger problems to worry about. But yeah, you can even, you know, reverse grip with these things. You got more leverage over that tang than you do in the regular grip. So I mean, you're good there too. I mean, I wouldn't be going using the toad as a defensive tool, but you know, whatever. But you just basically, you know, a lot of people they just don't. I think I can't really explain like what the deal is, but I know there's more appeal, and I get more appeal out of a frame lock than a friction folder as well. But for me, these are perfect. I mean, I use them all the time. I use this one all the time. I carry it almost every day. I also carry my toad until I get a better blade for it, because it's only chisel ground. But it's like a kind of get used to just moving your finger out of the way and just. And also, you just on the pant leg, you know, you just go like that, one-handed, you know, even if you can't get to it. But you know, there's no problem with locks at all. You'll never have a problem with the lock on this thing, never. And they're solid, and they're very solid. But yeah, that's just kind of my opinion on friction folders. And also, there's something to be said about a design that's been around for thousands of years. I mean, I've heard that the friction folder was used in ancient Egypt even. So I mean, you know, as far as folder goes, this could possibly be the first folding knife. I mean, as far as I know, it is. But it's an old school style. I'm actually surprised that some people still don't know what a friction folder is, even though it's been around longer than any other knives besides like fixed blades. But yeah, they're just really cool. I mean, I really like them a lot, and there's a lot of freedom that comes with not having a lock. And it's just, and there are disadvantages here and there, but it's all just basically user error that you got to worry about. Like, that's why I try to make them very ergonomic, so you know, you don't have these types of problems. But you know, you can even use it in this way. I mean, you could even put something down in there and just, I mean, you can do that with anything, but you know, there's just something about it. And the tang is part of the design. I mean, it's kind of cool, and one of the best things about the tang is, you know, you got a weapon there. You know, you got an impact tool for breaking glass very easily. With this guy, you have basically a multi-tool. You know, you got a pry bar that works really well too. It just works really well. I mean, just 91 Whiskey is the only guy that's got one of my toads that has a pry bar on it. He's got like that weird toad I made, and it's basically the same as these guys, and he uses it all the time. He says it works really good. But basically, I get to make a folder that I can EDC without having to basically get, you know, water jet pieces out and like get it all into the math and freaking lock geometry and all that crap. It's so stressful. And you know, the ridiculous amount of criticism that comes with lockups. I mean, it's very, you know, it's very stressful. I mean, it's not, people don't take frame locks lightly. I'm missing a toad here. There's 4, oh, there it is, duh. It's blending in up here with the rest of the carbon fiber. But basically, I don't see, I think you just eliminate a lot of the frustration and a lot of the errors that come with locking blades. But that being said, I love frame locks and I love liner locks, and you know, I like locking blades a lot, and that will be my basically, you know, these won't be phased out. I'll continue to make them, but this thing is, they won't be as you know, it won't be as often. But you know, I plan on making friction folders and frame lock folders, but not right now, guys. Probably gonna get these out there first and get my situation like all set up. The flippers will be coming out, but in limited runs. Everything's limited because, you know, I just have all the pimp work to do. So I mean, if I had a full-time gig doing these things, I would do them all the time, guys. But I just don't have the time right now to do it because of the pimp jobs. It's not a bad thing, but it's just I need a quick, drastic change, a large sum of money at once, you know, something like that, so I can just finish off all the pimp jobs and do this mainly. But as of right now, I don't think I'll ever stop doing the pimp jobs. I mean, I think like even when I do make knives exclusively, I'll still take the occasional pimp job here and there from my more loyal customers or whatnot. Here's an old school design. Yeah, you can't get I got a bottle opener on this guy, file knife, just really cool. I mean, this is a real old one. It's more of a classic one you've seen before. But, you know, that's just my feelings on friction folders, guys. I mean, don't be afraid of them. A lot of you guys never try one out. Just give it a try. I think you'll like it because there's a lot less stress to deal with. As long as, it's just like having a gun. As long as you handle that gun right, there will be no problems with it. Alright, but if you keep your finger on the trigger when it's loaded, you may have a problem. I mean, it's all user error. I mean, that's the only thing you have to worry about, is being stupid with a friction folder. I mean, it's basically like a loaded gun. Just keep your finger off the trigger. You know, keep your finger away from the edge. You know, just, there's no other way to hold these where you're not holding the tang, which is why I keep the tang longer. So, I mean, if you're holding it like this, I mean, even this way, you're not doing anything but cutting downwards, so the pressure's going this way, and it's just not going to have a problem. If you're holding it like this, like an idiot, and just have your finger in the way, you know, maybe you're going to have a problem. But, you know, if you're going to do that, it's your own damn fault. It is your own damn fault. So, guys, that's me. That's my friction folder analysis. And, you know, it's just kind of a in-between step, you know. I mean, I know that's why the Thor does it. And there's a lot of skill involved in the friction folder as well. I mean, the placement of the pins and everything, it's not always easy. You know, sometimes you get everything done and something doesn't fit right. And it's just it's an interesting knife, and I really like them. And I will always offer friction folders because they're just great. They're just really great to have. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great night. Peace.